I think we're live. We're live, everyone. Yes, we are. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new stream, and that is right. We are live on this beautiful February 12th, 2024. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal day, night, afternoon, midnight, wherever you're in the world. I'm certainly having a great day. I have certainly have a great day myself. And today we have a live discussion on the New York special election happening in New York's 3rd. Yes, I know I had a spelling error in the title. I'm very sorry about that. And, yeah, fix that now. But, yeah, tomorrow we have the New York 3rd Congressional District special between the moderate Republican Mazi Pilip and the, I should say more Democrat than Republican, but either way. And, of course, former Congressman Thomas Suozzi. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Now, like usual, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or just want to support the channel even further, the best way to send a super chat via, well, the chat. Again, I'll try to read through as much of chat as possible, but usually super chats are the best way to get your questions answered. So yeah, all support's greatly appreciated. And speaking of a super chat, Dustin Carter for 2. Trump has officially endorsed Tim Sheehy for Montana Senate. We know this, it's very sad, but like I said, Rosendale has grassroots support in the state of Montana. Hopefully this turns into a Mo Brooks situation where he unendorses Sheehy, which isn't likely, maybe not, but when you read the endorsement, Trump didn't like bash Rosendale. He actually praised him. He said he should probably just run for the House instead. He actually praised him, and I think Rosendale would have a chance of winning that race, because it was not just, him saying Rosendale bad. So, but we just got to see what happens. Hopefully Trump changes his mind, and Rosendale is going to run a hell of a campaign. He's going to try as hard as possible to win that seat. All right. So, should we talk about it? Should we talk about the special election that's happening tomorrow? It is, of course, New York's 3rd Congressional District. This is going to be a very fascinating race. Now, let's be clear, all right? This is a special election. I mean, weird stuff can happen, right? But I will say one thing before I forget. If Republicans come anywhere close to winning this seat in a low turnout special, which we have determined is the Achilles heel for modern day Republicans, if Republicans come anywhere close to winning, say they lose by only, say, 3, I think that's a real good sign for this November. This is a seat that, let's face it, probably shouldn't be the most Trump favorable in New York. It really shouldn't. Now, there is stuff with a snowstorm, and again, this is a special election, so I'm not one of those people that say, if Republicans do 1 point better than Trump, that's a red wave. No. Same thing with Democrats. It's like, well, we won this seat by 5. It's like, okay. And Trump won the seat by 3, or I should say lost it by 8. So either way, we're going to get some telltale signs for 2024. Not everything, but we should get something for this November. So let's get right into it, because there's a lot to discuss. And funny enough, the New York Democrats are actually worried about Tuesday's special. Listen, I don't care who you are. The fact that some Democrats in the state of New York are saying, hey, despite the quote-unquote scandal-plagued incumbent, that was George Santos, despite Mazi Pilip being let's say it, a garbage candidate, despite recruiting Thomas Suozzi, Republicans actually have a chance of winning this. Yeah. It's that bad. Supposedly, for Democrats, it is that bad in New York right now. So let's get into it, because I know some about this race, but I'm not one of those people that know every single thing about this race, so let's just get into it. How bad were the 2022 midterm elections for Democrats in New York? One way to explain it. Republican George Santos' victory in the state's 3rd Congressional District might have been the highlight of their year. Yeah, Santos winning. Remember, this is a Biden +9 seat. He won by a very respectable margin, 8 points. Santos' troubles began in earnest 6 weeks after a surprise win, and after a year of scandal and outrage that sullied and undermined leading local Republicans, he was gone. One of only 6 members that have been bounced from the House, and only the 3rd since the Civil War, and the seat was open. Democrats could get another bite at the apple. But as the special election to succeed the disgrace former congressman has made painfully clear to Democrats, Santos' victory was not a fluke or an anomaly. What had been safely blue suburban Long Island seat for most of the past 3 decades is once again shaping up to be a political battleground. Yeah, this is a really good sign for Democrats, isn't it? When they're saying George Santos' victory was not some kind of one-off. Think about that for a second, everyone. Just think about what that means. They're saying, hey, George Santos, which we now know is probably the most cursed Republican we have ever gotten, probably will get, his victory by over 8 wasn't just because of Lee Zeldin pulling off that. There is something happening in this district. Days out now from Tuesday's expensive and fiercely contested matchup between Democratic Tom Suozzi, 61, a former House member and a staple of Nassau County politics since first being elected mayor of Glen Cove in 1993, against little-known Mazi Pilip, a 44-year-old Ethiopian-born Israeli-American county legislator. The race is widely considered a toss-up. Suozzi's brand is still strong. He ran the county during some of its best economic times, before his first election to Congress in 2016. But Pilip, though her ideological bearings remain fuzzy and she has at times been hard to find on the campaign trail, has prevailing political winds at her back, and the opportunity to put a stamp on the GOP's restored premise on Long Island and emerge as an up-and-coming national figure ahead of this fall's general election. I mean, I'm not a fan of Pilip, but if she could pull this off, again, I consider her to be worse than Suozzi in some circumstances because, let's face it, her ties as an IDF paratrooper, was it? Listen, I don't care that she's from Ethiopia. That's not my problem. Nor is it my problem that she's Jewish. It doesn't matter. My problem is she served in a foreign military. It's not like a Dr. Oz situation where he only kept his citizenship because of his dying mother. It's not like that. It's like, oh, she served in the IDF military voluntarily, I believe. And she's now, all she's talking about is, hey, I'm going to represent this country in the U.S. House. No one see a problem with that. And that's why I've been saying, if she loses, whoop-de-doo. But if she can pull this off, despite being arguably one of the most liberal Republicans I've ever seen, it shows 2 things. 1, this is not a fluke. There is something happening in New York that needs to be examined even further. But number 2, Democrats should start to panic. This is their top-notch candidate that's one of the strongest in New York. He is a big name in Long Island politics, Tom Suozzi. If he were to win, or lose, I should say, even win by like 2 points, that should tell you there is something happening here. I mean, when you have what should be a very favorable electorate, and you barely win? Duster Carter for 2. What if Santos wins in a write-in campaign? Lol, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Would be epic, but not gonna happen. Very sad. Okay, you have to, dude, don't do that. If she wins, we keep the house. Yeah. If she were to win, I don't see how Democrats win the house. I just really don't. 10 or 15 years ago, the political dynamics currently rolling in the New York suburbs might have seemed as far-fetched as Santos' claim to a career as a Broadway producer, less so 40 years ago when Republicans ran roughshod here and Ronald Reagan alluded to Nassau County as Republicans' idea of heaven. But cascading crisis from a home building and affordability crisis to more recent panic over crime and immigration has swung back the pendulum. And this is why she might frickin' win. I'm not a fan of her for saying some of the stuff about Israel. And again, pro-Israel, I'm fine with. I'm pro-Israel myself. My problem is saying I served in the IDF. And I'm going to make sure I represent them in the House of Representatives. That's my problem. But damn it, she is focusing on what matters. Crime, immigration, the affordability crisis. I'll give her that. The fact that the Republican Party waited until now to figure this messaging out is absolutely pathetic. Nassau County in 2024 is sharply divided and, in a word, angry. It's a lot like other places across the country that could determine President Joe Biden's fate in his expected November rematch with former President Trump. Long Island is running hot, and when people run hot, they run Republican, said Elisa Cass, a Democratic strategist. George Santos was not an accident. His election was the direct result of years and years of careful Republican recruitment, party building, and outreach in Long Island. I mean, Republicans in Long Island are no joke. They don't piss around. But the past, decade or so, they have been slowly but surely getting back to where they were, 30 years ago. And now we're starting to see it. Especially with what's happening with crime. I mean, this is getting absurd where even most Democrats in, the most bluest parts of Chicago and New York City are saying, yeah, we have an immigration problem. These people, these illegal immigrants, I should say, they are causing so many problems. We got to do something about it. I mean, how could people look at this and say, yep, there's a fluke here? There's totally some kind of fluke happening in Long Island. There's no excuse for Democrats to even come close to losing the seat. There's none. Though the district broke for Biden by over 8 points in 2020, the signs of a Republican renaissance and diminishing returns from a disjointed Democratic state party were soon to come on display. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer lost the county while otherwise cruising re-election in 2022. The year before, Democrat Laura Curran, the top official in Nassau County, was ousted by Republican Bruce Blackman. GOP gains continued in 2023, well after the Santos fiasco was in full flight, and Republicans are now close to dominant in local offices. Tuesday's special election, though, is unique in a number of ways. Where New York Democrats garnered little national attention in 2022, until their slew of losses in the suburban seats across the state, the party's full of throttle behind Swazi this time out. It also helps that Brooklyn's Hakeem Jeffries is now the top House Democrat. Hakeem is a beast for better or worse, said one progressive Democrat operative. So, yeah, I mean, this has been happening for 5 years now, that they have been gaining on this. Hold on. Yeah, what did they win in 2023 for the first time since 1990 or something? Was it county executive? What was that? It was a big upset. Is that what they were talking about? Let's see. Service in the IDF is mandatory in Israel, much like South Korea. Well, yeah, but I think she voluntarily moved there. I don't know the whole situation, but what she's saying is the problem. It's don't say you're gonna represent them in Congress when you serve them. It's it's not a good sign. Yeah, Suffolk County, so it's not Nassau, but still. And they did win a couple DA races, I know that. So, you can't just look at this and say, oh, there's nothing happening here. This is just a 2022 fluke. We're in 2024, and it's looking very likely Republicans have a shot. They won Suffolk County Executive by 15 for the first time in 20 years. Yeah, that's what it was. There is something happening, especially in Long Island. They have been waiting for years for this movement. For finally someone for Republicans to finally do something worth a damn. New York State and Nassau County Democratic Chairman Jay Jacobs, who rejected calls to resign after the Santos debacle, praised Jeffries and his leadership team for their support, particularly when it comes to campaign cash, but also suggested that back in 2022, the local party suffered as much for a lack of interest from National Democrats as their own missteps. Oh, bullcrap. How much money did Democrats pour in New York? How much was it for, who was the one that Lawler beat? I actually forgot. I should know this. It was, I should know this. It was, Maloney. Yeah, it's Maloney. But it's like, you're telling me the guy that was head of the DCCC, they had no attention on that race? No, you guys got embarrassed because you're incompetent. Your messaging sucks. When you have Republicans in New York say what you will about people like Lawler, they're focusing on crime. They're focusing on the affordability crisis. They're focusing on what matters. Thank you, Sean Patrick Maloney. But it's like, you're telling me that's a fluke and that there's nothing wrong there, or just, oh, we had a national problem. New York Democrats had their own problems. They were one of, 3 statewide parties for the Democrats to fail? It was North Carolina, Florida, and New York Dems. All 3 of them had incompetent messaging. And you can't just say lack of focus. That's bullcrap. They're trying to make an excuse for what's happening here. What's happening is voters are waking up to this crap. Duster Carter for 2. Breaking news. Hogan is running for Maryland Senate this year. Yeah, we know this. He is running. It's been a different story this campaign. Grassroots progressive groups like Engage Long Island, which is part of the Indivisible Network, have been feverishly knocking on doors, taking their case directly to like-minded neighbors, and Swazi has massively outraced Peel-Up, taking it $4.5 million and her $1.3 million, according to FEC filings. Curran, a centrist ally of Swazi, doesn't blame former Governor Andrew Cuomo or Jacobs for the state party's failures. Her ire is directed at leftist Democrats in New York City Hall and the state legislature. Which, finally someone said it. I mean, there's no freaking, people blame Cuomo and stuff, but it was the clowns in New York City that started this. Bill de Blasio. Idiots like that. They were the ones that caused the Democrats' problem. And then the statewide Democrats focused on nonsensical proposals. They focused on abortion. When most Republicans in New York are just moderates on the issue. It's like, what do you expect's going to happen? You caused the problem, and instead of trying to fix it, you just blame Republicans for a separate issue? Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's see. Hot-button issues such as the migrant influx, mixed in with the fight over abortion rights and housing and cost of living crisis on Long Island, have driven a special election campaign that has seen the airwaves dominated by ads and mailboxes stuffed almost daily, with campaign literature from both parties. Though no single contest, much less an almost pop-up special election conducted under unusual circumstances, can claim to foretell what comes next in national politics. Swazi versus Mazi, it rhymes, comes awfully close. In a nod to the dim views of Democrats and Republicans in the swing district, neither Swazi nor Peel-Up advertised their party affiliation on the thousands of lost signs now staked out across the district. Peel-Up initially refused to say who she voted for in 2020, before eventually telling the New York Post over the weekend that she proudly cast her ballot for Trump, which I think is smart. Listen, I know these morons are going to say, but, Orange Man is lost a seat by 8. Yeah. And current polling has Trump doing 12 points better than Peel-Up in this district. She's down by 4 to 5. Trump's actually winning by a very similar margin as Santos. Cole Langton for 2. Not gonna lie, Biden makes me miss the Bush/Obama years. Okay, the first 4 years of Obama wasn't that destructive. I don't like Obama, but the first 4 years, at least you could say he was trying to fix this country. The final 4, he just purposely was trying to blow everything up, especially when it came to social issues. But at least with Obama and Bush, you don't have the incompetence. Well, they weren't incompetent, but at least they weren't dementia candidates. So either way, and plus those years of politics were not that insane as we are now, which I guess now it's more entertaining, but still. I never thought I'd say this, but the GOP needs to be more like the DNC. Well, what do you mean by that? Because you're usually the clown that says, oh, Biden's the greatest president since sliced bread. It makes me miss the early years of Bush before the BS. Felt much more patriotic back then. Well, yeah. In the first, 3 years of Bush, it was a very patriotic time because of 9/11. But after, 2003, that's really when things started to fall apart. I mean, when he started the war in Iraq, that's really what sealed it, I think. That's what started the downward spiral we're currently in. I mean, that's when politics started to get real ugly. That's really an understatement, but it's true. Yeah, it's the stupid wars, the Iraq, not pulling out Afghanistan when our job was done. It's crap like that. All right, back to this. You'll hear from Democrats they lose that this really isn't a bellwether because Nassau County has been an outlier nationally, Levy said. But, he added, while nothing is certain, the reality is that the issues are going to be the same, whether it's Montgomery and Bucks counties in PA or Oakland County, Michigan. And this is the biggest cope from Democrats. I'm getting sick and tired of these people that say, but New York shifted right. Yeah? If Trump is really doing 15 points better in New York, if he's almost or in fact winning Nassau County, which by the way was Biden plus 10, you just think this is going to just stop in New York? This is why this is a big deal. If Republicans do good this year in Nassau County, for one, Republicans are keeping the House at that point, barring some insane redistricting. But number two, you're telling me that this won't translate to, say, Bucks County to Oakland County like this guy says? What distinguishes Nassau County from some of those other traditional battlegrounds is its proximity to America's biggest city, where political moods tend to filter out into the suburbs, and in recent years, concerns over public safety and more recently, a growing migrant housing crisis are dominating the headlines. Which, okay, fine. It's much worse than, say, Nassau County, because we're right next to New York City, but Philadelphia's having a problem. It's not as bad as New York City, but it's still a problem. Michigan's having a problem. Even Chicago is having a massive problem. Hell, there's a big scandal with the illegal migrants in Wisconsin. You're crazy to say this will not translate nationwide because it's only New York City. If Trump is doing that much better in that part of the country, it would be delusional to say that won't translate anywhere else. We look west and we see what's happening in New York City, whether it is crime, migration, affordability issues, even if it's not here in our backyards, because we live off of New York City, basically, said Mike Florio, a former top Swazi staffer in Congress turned CEO of the Long Islanders Builders Institute. What the Republicans are able to do is tie the issue you see in New York City and say, if you go with the Democrats who control New York City, we can end up like that. Some of the asylum-seeking migrants whose presence has scrambled local politics are currently living in a relief center near the Creedmoor Psychic Center, in Queens Village, which sits inside the 3rd District's borders. During the Thursday night debate, Peel Up, as she's done in commercials of mailers, claimed Swazi, who represented the district from 2017 to 2023, and Biden were responsible for the mess. And they're going to blame Greg Abbott, of freaking course. The city's migrant surge started when Republican Greg Abbott of Texas began busing people north. What a freaking cope. I mean, these morons, again, this was actually a decent article before that, but these freaking bows that bring that up, that, it started when Greg Abbott started to bust the migrants. You're nuts if you think this was Greg Abbott's doing. Absolutely just insane. Can you just imagine for us? Well, it's not that insane. So overall, this is a very bizarre election that we don't really know how it's going to go, but blaming frickin' Greg Abbott. Unbelievable. But, yeah, it's definitely a situation where Republicans, they have some kind of hope here. I mean, when you have Democrats saying, no, the Republicans caused the migrant crisis, at that point, remember when it wasn't a crisis? And now they're saying, no, it was Republicans that did it. If they start pulling crap like that, maybe it's a sign that, hey, they're starting to panic. They're just trying to shift blame. They're saying Greg Abbott caused the crisis? What happened beforehand? I mean, there were signs of this back in 2021. Duster Carter for 2. Redistricting update. Wisconsin, LA, or not LA, Louisiana, New York, etc. Wisconsin, don't know how that's going to go. But Louisiana, that's going to be fascinating. You know, the thing with Louisiana is there was a new lawsuit by white voters. They're saying the current map is illegal. It's racist. It should be overthrown. Could happen. But as for New York, they vote on, I believe, Thursday. Charlie Howard for 5. I live in Wake County, North Carolina. Very blue county, but I've realized there are more Trump supporters here than I thought. Well, they're in urban areas across the board. We have been hearing more and more voters in these areas that you wouldn't think. Say Chicago. We've been hearing, I mean, you just look at some of these videos on Twitter, and I know that's not everything, but there are so many people from, say, Cook County. Again, Illinois is going to vote Democrat, but it's just an example. These voters, they have voted Democrat their entire lives and now saying, hey, maybe Trump wasn't wrong. Maybe he wasn't this bad guy. I mean, I may not like him, but his policy was actually good for this country. Go to, say, New York City, just a great example. The crisis that's happening here and them trying to blame it on Greg Abbott, this is a disaster waiting to happen for Democrats. They can't fix it because their policies are they're so incompetent. Their policies demand that they allow this to happen, so they just have to blame Republicans. And all Republicans have to say is, look who's in charge of New York. It's a deep blue state. How can you blame Republicans for that? California, same deal. Illinois. Areas that Democrats control, they're the ones outside of southern Texas that are having some of the biggest problems right now. Which southern Texas is a bit more Democrat, but you get the point. This is a very hot take, but I think if Dems win the special election, they will start getting complacent. You know, with how they've been reacting to every special, but ever since, I think Virginia was like the special day. Ever since Virginia last year, Republicans have been overperforming in these specials. Suddenly, these people that track specials, they forgot they existed. We're not talking about it now. When Republicans started to overperform again, they just stopped mentioning it. Just said, oh, didn't happen. If Democrats win this seat by like 2, and they start excited for that, they're coping. And no one should take them serious if they win by 2. That's a 6-point shift from 2020. This should be your strongest candidate. Tom Suozzi is a very strong candidate for the seat, while Peel-Up is a very weak one. If you win by 2 in a low turnout race, we know that election day is going to have some bad weather. If you win by like 2 or 3, that should be a warning sign to Dems. But knowing these people, there's too many of them, they're going to just cope and say, nope, that's a great sign for Republicans, or Democrats, I should say. I wonder where Abbott got those illegals from. Yeah. I wonder, do they really think that, like, Greg Abbott, like, stole them from somewhere and, like, bust them there? Is that what they're saying? That he magically made them get on the, well, how do I phrase this? Like, they weren't illegal immigrants until they went to New York? Is that what they're trying to claim? Hey, Rat, my school decided to send me and my peers from San Diego to San Francisco for a college road trip, so I won't be able to watch the stream today. Do you have any advice once I reach San Francisco? Make sure you're not carrying much on you. That's just all I could say. I would honestly just, like, bring a flip phone. If you want to bring a phone, just bring an old one. I mean, San Francisco's it sucks, but it's such a crap hole now. Be nice to it. That you can't even walk down any street without getting mugged. So if you have any valuables, don't take it. Just leave it at your house. Rap, they will use the word Dobbs Mentum whenever they win. It is stupid. Yeah, and Phillip is a freaking pro-choice Republican. And funny enough, that would debunk a lot of theories if that happened, but yeah. First domino fall in New York. Governorship, presidency, or Senate. Would have to be governorship. Because governorships are a little bit more chaotic with elections. You could see some weird results. I mean, Zeldin almost won he only lost by 6. If Biden wins, do you think he survives second term? No. Even if he makes it to the election, I mean, that's a big question. I don't think he'll last more than a year. He may get sworn in and then just go away. You know, that's a problem with Biden. It's like, and that's what I think funny enough, they say that the criminal indictments of Trump will be the deciding factor. No. I think the deciding factor outside of the issue of immigration, crime, all of that, will be Biden's fitness. If they look at Biden and say, can he even survive more than a year? Can he make it past 1 year as second term? I think that will be the deciding factor for many people. Like, okay, Trump's 4 years younger. He's not as energetic, but there's no sign of him becoming Biden. Like, forgets where he is. It just doesn't know who's the president of Egypt. Says Mexico has to close the border with Gaza. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think that, tough one. I just think it comes down to Biden's fitness. If people think, will he really go on for 4 more years? What about Biden's heart stop? Does this mean VP Mike Johnson? No. So Harris would get sworn in, and if something happens to Harris right away, then yeah, Johnson would be president. But in this situation, something happens to Biden and Harris becomes president. She has to get vice president through the Senate, simple majority, and that's it. Which I don't think they don't have any problem with, because they got a majority. But let's see. Hot take. I think Illinois governorship flips in 2026 if Pritzker retires and the Republicans get a good candidate. I mean, Pritzker did like 5 points worse than Trump or Biden, and he was going against Darren Bailey, the unelectable guy. People talk about electability, they just forget that one. I mean, for crying out loud, that guy was one of those pro-choice, like, conservative candidates, and he did 5 points better than Trump against an incumbent governor. Nobody talks about that one, but didn't he deny a fitness test today? Yes, he did. So, I believe it was a physical that Biden was supposed to get, and he refused to take a fitness test. Which, if you are not taking a test like that, and like, especially when people are saying that something might be wrong with you, if I was alleged of going senile, I would take the test in a heartbeat. It's like, I gotta prove that I'm not losing it. Bailey was pro-life, you mean? Yeah, excuse me, pro-life. But either way, Biden refusing to take that test right after that special counsel's report, that is not a good look. People are starting to realize, okay, this isn't just some Republican conspiracy. It's one thing if he was like slowing down, like, okay, he has a hiccup here or there, but he's still there mentally. Well, I don't think he is. It's looking more and more likely that no, he really isn't there at all. I mean, it's getting so bad. I mean, Biden collapsed in the betting markets. The recent polling had been a disaster for him. I mean, ABC had like, what was it, 90% of Americans say Biden's not fit to serve. I mean, he's done. Every single metric when it comes to elections point to Biden getting absolutely crushed. This is what we're trying to tell people. Excuse me. Biden is in such a bad situation that those people that are saying that Biden's a clear favorite, they're nuts. There's nothing saying Biden will be the favorite right now. Nothing. Can anyone tell me one thing that would make Biden the favorite right now? Right now. Not 9 months from now. If you have Biden as the clear favorite, it's one thing to say 50-50. Fine. But if it's the clear favorite, what metric are you using? What data point do you got? I honestly don't know. You ask these people, they say, more economy. 80% of voters think the economy suck. I mean, I don't know. Let's see here. Anyone got any point? Illegals that vote for... Well, I think that's always been overstated. There are illegals that vote. You know, just... I'm not even trying to knock conspiracies, facts. I guarantee you there are some that do vote. But, I don't know. Ballot harvesting, which I think is becoming less and less prevalent because you want to know the Democrat strategy for the past 20 years, and they're starting to run into a problem. So their strategy every year was register as many Democrat voters as possible. Every single one of them. Right? You keep registering so many voters that it makes it impossible for Republicans to keep up. The problem Democrats have now is 2020, yeah, they got so many new voters. Problem is, they've capped out. They have found their ceiling with percentages, or, yeah, with certain groups. I mean, what is it, like, was it North Carolina? They lost, like, 5,000 registered Dems? You know, it's stuff like that where they physically cannot register that many more voters to the Democrat side. Mathematically speaking, you just can't. So that's a problem. Their strategy has always been get as many voters registered, Democrat. Make them vote early in high enough numbers so Republicans have no shot to overcome that. But now, well, that strategy is not working too well because they've reached their ceiling as of now. Basically, every state we got, I mean, it's North Carolina, Florida's losing Dems. Which other state? Was it California? Lost a bunch? It's not good for the Democrat Party. Now, they're lucky Republicans are incompetent, but I don't know. Perfect idea. Both houses have to approve the VP pick. So we just don't approve in the House. No, it's the Senate. The Senate picks the VP. Or, not pick the VP, they just approve of her. Or him, I guess. Rap, did you see that Wall Street Journal article? No, I didn't. What did I miss? Pennsylvania is losing Dems like crazy. Yeah, it's across the board. I mean, every state that has party ID, Republicans are losing or Democrats are losing like 10,000 a week in some places. It's like, yeah, you sure they're doing it good right now? I don't think so. Yeah, it's Pennsylvania's one of the big ones. North Carolina, I think, is one. Florida is definitely. It's not good. Not good for Dems. What's the Wall Street Journal people are talking about? Wall Street Journal. All the Kamala Harris stuff. So, yeah, I did hear about this where, Harris is ready to serve as president, according to the Wall Street Journal. You know, again, that's kind of misleading. They're not saying that she's going to be the next president, but they're saying that the Wall Street Journal is claiming that Harris said that she's ready. That if something happens to Biden, she is ready to be the next president of the United States. The fact that they're talking like this right after that special counsel report, right after Biden said he's not taking a fitness test, Joe, you better be watching your back. That's all I'm gonna say, because when you have people saying stuff like that, especially with all the circumstances around Biden, that may not be good for him. Rap, didn't you oppose Santos to 2022? Yes, I did. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about Santos, but looked it up. Yeah, so Harris might try something here. Can you just imagine for a second if Harris like used the 25th Amendment? I mean, what's the possibility of that? Are they thinking just that bad they try to coup him at the convention? The only way I see them pulling something is if Biden goes himself. I don't see them trying to coup Biden out of office through the 25th Amendment or the convention. That just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. I hope it happens now, but it's one of those things where if they were to do that, the consequence of that would just be awful. You're talking about something that has never happened before, using the 25th Amendment and using means of the convention that haven't been used in like, what, 150 years? You know, it's one of those things where if they try to get rid of Biden forcefully, it's going to end badly. Going to end horribly. Horribly. Trump going to encourage Russia. That's not what okay. I am getting sick and tired of that narrative that Trump says, oh, Russia should attack NATO. That's not what he said. The bozos that believe that are just morons. But what Trump actually said about NATO was, look, NATO has to pay their fair share. They can't just mooch off the United States and then beg us for more money and say the United States has to do more work for Ukraine. If they pay their fair share, we're allies with them. But if they're using us so they don't have to get a military, screw them. Don't protect them. If Russia goes to war with them, they didn't pay their fair share. They're clearly not worried about their own military, that they have to beg us for their military. What Trump said was right. Right, did you hear that Trump is considering Laura Trump for RNC chair? I did not see that. These people have Trump derangement syndrome. Well, I'm just trying to tell people, he's saying, hey, if you're not going to pay your fair shares and rely on the United States, oh well. I mean, you're not an ally. You're not part of NATO if you're going to do that. You can say what you want, but is he wrong? Is he wrong for what he said? Last time an incumbent president lost to the convention was the 1884 RNC 140 years ago, where James G. Blaine ousted President Chester Arthur. Yeah, so you're talking about 140 years ago? Yeah. Rap, how bad would it be if they ousted Biden at the convention, but Biden then ran on his own for president, as well as making it a four-way race between him, Dem candidate Trump, and RFK Jr.? I don't see that happening. The problem with that is Biden has no support outside of core Democrats. That's his only support, is partisan Dems that vote blue no matter who. One, I think Biden would just retire at that point. But number two, can you even function a campaign without the DNC? I don't think you can fundraise worth a damn outside the Democrat apparatus. The other NATO members are literally violating the treaty by not spending 2% of GDP on defense. Yeah, I'm going to pull that graph up. NATO GDP by country. This is what Trump's talking about. Let me pull this up. All right, let's just get this here. Gotta find this. So this is a chart of NATO spending by country, by GDP. Now, in the treaty, you have to spend 2% of your GDP a year on your military. You can't just say, oh, we're going to rely on the United States, United Kingdom, or whoever. Look at this. Look. Defense expenditure as a share of GDP, based on 2015 prices and exchange rates, before Trump was in office. Look at that. Look at how many countries were like barely above 1%. Barely. Not just, 1.2. No, 1.5. It's like 1.1. And look at the United States. It was 3.7%, roughly, in 2014, before Trump. Only Poland and the United Kingdom, back before Trump, was actually paying for 2%. Now look at now. It's still pretty bad, but at least you have Greece, United States, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, United Kingdom, Latvia, Croatia, Slavic Republic. 7 countries are now in compliance. With Romania, France, about to say something weird, but trending upwards. Every country, except funny, the United States and Turkey, went up in GDP spending. This is why Trump is saying, if you're going to only be freaking, just an example, the Czech Republic, when they were back in 2014, if you're spending 1% when you're supposed to be at 2%, screw you. You're not paying your fair share. We're not going to defend you. This is the whole point of NATO. Yes, we're going to defend each other, but you're not going to mooch off of the United States or the United Kingdom. You're not. And this pissed a lot of people off. And this is a big part of Trump's campaign back in 2016. That, hey, these countries, they want our protection. They're going to pay for it. You really think Luxembourg is going to have the money to spend on military? Luxembourg, no. This is just percent of GDP. This isn't, I don't know what metric you're thinking, but any country can afford it. They can, if they really wanted to. They can afford 2% of the GDP of their country. It's strange that Greece spends so much money on their military. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm tired of all of our tax money going to foreign countries. Yeah, that's, again, big part of Trump's campaign. There's no way the GOP can have an upset in New York. They will send some old guy no one has ever heard about, except people over the age of 50. What? What about some countries that just joined NATO, like Sweden and Finland? Well, this is from 2014 to 2022, so... Greece is dead. Calm down, Greece. Yeah. I live in the United Kingdom, and all of continental Europe has always mooched off of others and not been grateful. Well, yeah, everyone knows that. I mean, look at some of these countries. Germany. I know they have a history of, what, but still. They were at, back in 2014, 1.2. Freaking, even now, look at all the countries putting more effort than Germany. The Netherlands, North Macedonia, France, Romania, Slavic Republic, Croatia. That is absolutely pathetic. I think Greece spends so much because tension with Turkey is sparking up again. That could be it. You can't look at this graph and deny that there's a problem with NATO. If you're not paying 2%, get the hell out. That would be my philosophy. Like, hey, you want our protection? Fine. You're going to spend money on your military. And you're not going to say, oh, well, we can't afford it. Sucks to be you. Trump also disrespected Nikki Haley. Okay, another fake bullshit story that people are taking out of context. I mean, really. For one, was Trump directly saying that he didn't know? Okay. So the theory was Trump said that said something about Haley's husband, that he's missing or whatever. He's obviously overseas right now, you know, in the military. And people are saying that he's disrespecting him and his family, all that crap. Is no one going to mention all the times that Nikki Haley was alleged of cheating on her husband? Do I have to bring up the frickin' the affidavit? Where a conservative put his name on an affidavit swearing under oath that he had sexual relations with Nikki Haley while her husband was overseas. Is no one gonna bring that up? Oh, she's totally a family mother, and that she cares about her husband. That shit's bullcrap. She cheated on her husband God knows how many times. And no one's gonna bring that up. She's making it sound like that, no, Trump is so disrespectful to military families in her own. And now she's using that Democrat talking point that he said mean things about, what was it, about veterans? When back in 2020, Nikki Haley denied that report. She said, and I'll find the tweet right now. I may not be able, she probably deleted it, but she praised Trump on veteran affairs back in 2020. And now she's saying Trump called them losers. Remember that story? She told Biden back in 2020 to delete that bullshit story. And now that she's banking on Democrats, she's using that BS story. She cheated on him while he was deployed. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny, you can't ignore this and deny that happened. It's a sworn affidavit. And she has done everything she could to make sure that story doesn't become a big part of her campaign. Duster Carter for 2. Did Noam cheat on her husband? She lost my respect. That's the rumor. Don't know if it's true, but the Haley one has credibility. We had many people say the exact same thing in a sworn affidavit. Someone that put his name on the line. Why would he lie about that? Why? And everyone that's talked apparently said he's a sane man. He's not freaking the lunatic from New York City. I'm going to pull up that attack by Nikki Haley. This is what we're dealing with here. Alex Tarisco for 5. As far as Larry Hogan is concerned, test the waters. Put a few million into the race this month, and if Hogan is under 45% in May, back off. I wouldn't go that far, but if Larry Hogan is even on the ballot, that's going to help Republicans down ballot in the state of Maryland, at least to a lesser extent. But we just got to see what happens. Trump in his first month did more for VA reform than any president in generations. Yeah. Arguably, the greatest thing Trump did as president was the VA. Do people not remember the scandals from the VA back in 2015? The horror stories where veterans couldn't get any health care because the system was so garbage. Trump had the approval rating for VA affairs. The VA affairs went from 5% to 96% in 2 years. Because Trump did simple reforms that actually help people. Help veterans. That's what I'm trying to tell people. This theory that he hates veterans, then why the hell did he do more for veterans in 1 month than any president, not Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter, in decades? Charlie Howard for 5. Off topic, but aren't several nations in Europe starting to trend to the right? I've seen evidence of this in France and other countries. Yeah. Well, I think these countries have been more conservative. It's just the conservative part of the countries, they have been asleep for a while. They've been existing. They're not, they existed, but they're not really gun-ho like they were 50 years ago or whatever. Now they're starting to come back and realize we effed up. We have to take back our countries from these lunatics. We are seeing that. Alright, let's see here. People are saying, look what Mike Johnson just said. What did Mike Johnson just say? Not seeing anything. Hogan is one of the few Republicans that kept his values. He's an actual moderate. Shut up. No one cares what you think. Yeah. Haley almost lost South Carolina governorship in a red tsunami and a red wave, yet claims to be a electable candidate. Yeah. Yep. That's Nikki Haley for you. Alright, should I bring up the story? I found it. I found what Nikki Haley said. Alright, this is what she claimed today. Look at this. Oops, wrong thing. Was it right? Nope, yep, that's wrong. Okay. This. In Arlington Cemetery, you said, what was in it for them? You insulted military families 2 days ago. You called veterans suckers and losers. You can't just fix that with a fake social media post. You show your true self when you go off the teleprompter, and it's telling. I'm not going to say it. I have never said on this channel. I'm not going to say you know what. But this bozo, that's close enough, is flat out using Democratic talking points about this. She is claiming that Donald Trump said veterans are losers. All right, and suckers. Same thing back in 2020 when she was an actual Republican or claimed to be. Biden should take this down. All of us who worked with Donald Trump witnessed the tremendous amount of love and respect he has for our military. He was determined to protect them. We had many conversations in NSC meetings about protecting them. Hashtag take it down. Hashtag military spouse. When Biden pushed up this bullshit story claiming Donald Trump says veterans are losers. Duster Carter for 2. What is it with politician infidelity? Awful. I have no clue. They want to get an agreement done? I don't know. That's my only explanation. They want money. They want influence or something. So they cheat on their loved ones. I don't know. Don't know. Have you ever considered opening a channel community Discord server that's public? Kind of a headache. I don't know if I want to deal with that. I considered it, but, you know, is it really worth it? Don't know. Don't know. That quote will be juxtaposed with Biden's son, Beau, and Trump will lose bad. What? I guess the reason why so many politicians cheat is because they get consumed by the power. Yeah, I could see that. And they want influence over someone. The claim that Trump said veterans are suckers and losers is not true at all. Trump should sue Biden of defamation for saying that. Yeah. It's like the Charlottesville hoax. It's the same. They do this crap every year. And this was like an anonymous source within an anonymous source that said that an anonymous source said that. You know, that's what I'm trying to tell people. That when you get to the anonymous sources, if they claim it's a he said, she said, he said shit show, don't believe it. And that's what happened here. It's awful. Yeah, it was The Atlantic, I think, that reported it. And it was, of course, the anonymous source that was talking to an anonymous source that talked to someone in the meeting claimed that Donald Trump told someone else that veterans are losers. How the hell can anyone take that at face value? You can't. Do you think the ridiculous feud between Chip Roy and Trump will ever get resolved? No. Chip Roy just hates Trump. That's really what it comes down to. He hates Trump and nothing will stop that. He hates Ken Paxton. Yeah. From the Hill, Big Fanny might get removed because her thug. Oh, hold on. We got breaking news. What? Hold up. That was reported by The Hill. Yep, I did see this. So, It looks like Willis, the bozo in Georgia, that tried to go after Trump, she may get disqualified. Just because it's anonymous doesn't mean it's not true. It's one thing if it's a direct source that said that. It's another when it's my anonymous source said it. Another anonymous source said that someone else said that Trump told someone else that veterans are losers. That's a whole different thing. You cannot trust that. He's a record saying despicable things about John McCain. Well, was he really wrong? John McCain just sucked. Yeah, it looks like Fonnie Willis is out. Well, I should say she's 100% out, but there's a good shot that she might get thrown out of the DA case. Alright, if anyone got any more super chats, any more questions, concerns, whatever, send them now. Because we're probably going to end the stream very shortly. But I should get back to the New York stuff. We kind of got off track, but if I had to guess for prediction, I'm saying lean Democrat. I think that Thomas Suozzi. The problem for Republicans is Suozzi is just a big name in the region. And I think despite how good of a campaign Philip is supposedly running, I just don't think that we're going to see Republicans win the seat. I think, it's going to be like D plus 4 or 5. I could be wrong, but, I mean, with the weather, I don't know. D plus 4 or 5, I would say that. Red Lion, Suozzi plus 4. Well, I mean, you were right about the Super Bowl yesterday, so your curse ended. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. Yeah, for those that don't know, Red Lion actually predicted the Super Bowl. It's a meme for those that don't get it. It's like every time Red Lion says something, nothing against Red Lion. He's a great guy, but I'm just saying that every time Red Lion says something, it's like the opposite happens. But the curse might have ended yesterday. Man up for 2. Big Fonnie got slapped hard. Lamau, Thug Shakers rejoice. What? Oh, man. If Trump flips New York, what does the Electoral College national popular vote and down ballot look like? Trump is like winning national popular vote by 4 or 5. Maybe 6. Or, yeah, more like 6 or 7. Down ballot, we have both majorities by a lot. Red Lion posted a now deleted tweet where he predicted the 49ers would win the Super Bowl. I thought he said Chiefs. I thought he predicted the score like basically perfect. I don't know. My curse lives. Yeah. Did you ever watch the cringe California Senate debate a couple weeks ago? I saw parts of it, but not all of it. Not all of it. I've seen clips of it. Trump will lose Texas, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. He might lose, George, or no, I wouldn't even say Georgia. I would say Arizona, maybe, but North Carolina, no. That's, as of now, there's no evidence of that. So, I said the tweet is now deleted rap. Oh. Probably losing Ohio and Florida. Okay, dude. If you really think Trump's losing Ohio and Florida, yeah. Go back to 2016. It's not 2016 anymore. It's not even 2012. Quick question. If you want to field it, if Dems want to get rid of Biden, state deadlines are up in the next 3 weeks. What would their options be? So, the only way I could see them get rid of Biden, the easiest way is just him stepping down. At that point, they would probably just say at the convention, we're going to pick the candidate. That's what would be the first option. They could run a write-in candidate, I guess. But the problem with that is, would there be enough people to vote against Biden? And the other option is just throw them out the convention. Just say, the delegates are unbound, they can vote for whoever the hell they want. which it kind of can now, but likely showed Brown and Leno. Okay, dude. Yes, those Ohio voted Democrat those measures. That's true. But guess what? You forget one tiny detail. Both of those were in Democratic electorates. We know that. Based on precinct data and exit polls. It was like a Biden plus 5 electorate in Ohio. So, that happened because very low turnout, poor ads in the GOP, and a lot of social liberals in the city. Yeah, the only people that voted in that election were diehard pro-choicers. I mean, when you have freaking, what was it, D plus 6? Yeah, of course Democrats gonna win an abortion referendum. Gee, I wonder why. And that's the ones that admitted it. And when there was like a bunch of undecideds that said, we never voted in 2020. Oh, you're full of it. They all voted Democrat. Guys, Trump will lose South Carolina because Haley endorses Brandon. Real. Alright, if anyone got a last second super chat, send them now or forever go in peace. I thank all of you for tuning in. So tomorrow we will have an election night stream. I believe it is going to be at 9:50 p.m. or 8:50 p.m. Eastern, excuse me. I'm very intrigued what happens, but I think Democrats are the favorites. You know, D plus 4 or 5, my prediction. So yeah. Also, abortion and marijuana are issues Democrats win on. Marijuana sometimes does fail, but just gotta see. Just gotta see. I mean, I guess, you know, marijuana depends on the state, but if did badly in Oklahoma, I mean, it was like voted to the right of Trump with marijuana, so I don't know. We just gotta see. Just gotta see. If Philip does win, do you think she would vote to impeach Mayorkas? I think she said she would. Which is just common sense, I think, but this is the Republican Party. When they say one thing, they do the complete opposite 5% of the time. So, we just gotta see what happens, I guess, but I would assume she would vote for impeachment. There's nothing to... There's not people out there saying, yeah, we gotta get rid of Philip because she voted in favor of getting rid of Mayorkas. Quick, we must primary her. Just got here. How do you feel about the Super Bowl? Chiefs won. That's all I can really say. It's painful. Painful, painful, painful. Hold up. What's this? Biden releases video of shit. Nah. Oh, nah, bro. Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. This can't be real. Is this real? Biden released video sharing... No way. Biden releases video of sharing fried chicken with black family. Oh man, you got chicken fingers. You got the whole deal. Nah. No way. Is this real? Bro, timeouts. Of all things you could have chose, you decided that. Does anyone... Probably everyone knows the stereotype, bro. I know he didn't do that intentionally, but there's that stereotype out there. Oh my goodness, bro. Of all the foods you could have picked, you could have picked the one that... You picked the one that is a stereotype for them. And he didn't do it intentionally, but bro... You can't make this up. Oh, man. It's just unbelievable. Unfreaking believable that's happened. Alright. So if you guys did enjoy the stream, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you all so much. Godspeed.